Morning everyone, so we are on to chapter 13 of The Wizards of Wands, Knock 3 Times. Chapter 13 is Bodkin's Letter. Zar was expecting Bodkin to be outside the door of Queen Sycorax's room, but Bodkin was not there. It took Zar a bit of time to find Wish, but eventually he found her running through one of the courtyards, surrounded by all the sprites and animals. She was looking for him. She was carrying a letter folded in half and Zar's waistcoat. Bodkin gave me this letter, but he said I couldn't look at it until I was with you, said Wish, and then he ran off. He wouldn't let any of us go with him except Night Eye, and he looked so upset. What's happened? You are still Zar, aren't you? You haven't switched back again yet? That's not the problem, said Zar grimly. He explained about Queen Sycorax and Bodkin betraying them both, and Wish could not believe it. They looked at the letter together. It was written in scribbled hasty handwriting, and it said, Dear Wish and Zar, by the time you read this, you will know I have betrayed you. I don't know how to say how sorry I am. I wanted to keep Wish safe, and I did not realize how bad Queen Sycorax had become until she burnt down the forest, and then it was too late. I should have told you, but I could not bear to see the look on your faces when you found out. I found a page in the spelling book that told me where to find the Nuka-Levi, and I am going away on a shadow quest to get the scales to prove that I have courage and that I can be a hero too. Please do not follow me. It is too dangerous. Stay safe here with Madame Perdita, and learn how to be heroes and wizards. If I don't come back, I will have got what I deserve. Very best wishes, Bodkin, your would-be bodyguard and betrayer. P.S. I have taken Night Eye with me. I won't let her come to any harm. Oh, this is partly your fault, Zar, said Wish, turning on Zar fiercely. Hang on a second. Bodkin's the traitor, not me, protested Zar. Don't blame this on me. You're not very tactful, said Wish, because she was worried about Bodkin. You kept going on and on and on and on and on about he was a whore and everything. Zar opened his mouth to protest and then shut it again. Maybe he hadn't been quite as tactful as he might have been. Poor Bodkin. He only did it because he was jealous, said Wish. I wish he'd just told me. Poor Bodkin, agreed the key in a little creaky voice drooping on the letter. Jealousy makes you do stupid things, doesn't it, folk? Luckily, I've never been the jealous type. And then suddenly, in the distance, out in the woods, there was an unforeseen, dreadful noise. Wish turned white. The witches that were out there waiting had been quiet. So quiet. Eerily quiet. Up until now. But Wish knew that new, fresh sound. It was the dreadful, heart-stopping noise of attacking witches. Bodkin, gasped Wish. They must be ambushing him. We'll have to help. Thank goodness he's taken the sword with him. Maybe not, thank goodness, said Wish, even whiter than Wish. Said Zar, even whiter than Wish. Because if Bodkin took the sword with him, the Iron Wolf created a hole in the magic protecting Pook's hull, you fool. Zar was right. When Bodkin took the sword out of the school, the iron had indeed tunnelled a hole in the magic. Excuse me. And even now, a giant feathered nightmare was crawling rat-like through the hole. For the first time in hundreds of years, the sacred space of the learning place was invaded by a witch. Much nearer than those distant dreadful noises, there was a confused screeching and a great cry of witch attack! And the sound of swarms and swarms of piskies from inside the school hitching, then screeching, witches, 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 witches! The witch feathers in Zar's waistcoat glowed with a strange unnatural light, and little squeezed Juice's eyes lit up with a similar unearthly green as he crept forward in the air, hissing, sit-chup, 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 which is obviously witches backwards. Instinctively, Zar grabbed the little sprite and put him in one of his pockets, buttoning it tight and sticking it fast with the do-it-yourself magic stuff. It's me house, squeaked Juice, peering through a little tear in the material. No, squeeze just, said Zar. I think I are safer in there for the moment. Remember, Zar has Bodkin's voice because he's still Bodkin. He still looks like Bodkin. Wish and Tsar ran towards the noise, the animals running beside them, their huge, sympathetic bodies giving them courage, and the sprites flying above him in a twitter of speculation. It is sometimes only when we sense we are about to lose something that we really see it and appreciate it. The electric shock of the attack had woken Tsar into a state of bright awareness, so that every one of his senses was highly alert, and as he ran through the beloved, friendly, messy world of Pook's Hill, in his bare hob feet vaulting over the twisting tree trunks, gaining speed with every comforting, familiar piece of ground that his feet touched, he had the oddest and dreadest sensation that he was seeing it for the first and also the very last time. He hadn't wanted to come here, but now he didn't want to leave. They burst into the eastern clearing to find Perdita, great streams of magic coming out of her fingers, fighting a swooping, diving shock of a witch. They were too late to help her. Wish had her eye patch up, ready as they ran forward. Perdita swelled, the energy force racking her got more and more intense, and a great heat came off her. So that Tsar and Wish had to throw up their arms in front of their faces to protect themselves, and they were blown right off their feet by some sort of combined explosion from Perdita and the witch. There was a terrible tearing, shrieking, and the ghastly vision of the swooping witch turned invisible again, and patterns of green blood fell like rain as the witch retreated back towards the hole in the magic at the eastern entrance of the school. The animals gave howls of victory around Tsar. The witch was gone, thought Tsar, but at what dreadful cost? Madame Elfrida, Mr. Yewtree, chase the creature from the school. Close up the magic there. Don't step in the witch's blood, screamed Hula. Madame Elfrida and Mr. Yewtree ran after the invisible, retreating witch, carefully avoiding the drips of green. The terrible form of Perdita, in the shape of a great unmoving bear, lay on the ground. Oh, no, please let that be all right, begged Wish. Tsar and Wish crawled forward to Perdita's side. She was still steaming hot, far too hot to touch. Excuse me again. Is she going to be all right? Whispered Wish. I don't know, hooted Hula, anxiously fluttering above Perdita's heart. For a few dreadful seconds the bear remained unmoving, and then an eye flickered, and weakly the bear opened an eye. Oh, by the great green gods that protect us, breathed Hula. I think she didn't have to use her life. I think she will survive. No thanks to you, snapped Hula fiercely, her head swiveling round to look furiously at Wish. It's all very well for you young people. You may have many lives, but Wish, Madame Perdita, may only have one left. The relief of Perdita being alive was almost as if Wish's own heart had stopped for a second, only to start beating again. A little troop of piskies came buzzing up in a state of high excitement, for nothing as sensational as this had happened in many a long while. Madame Elfrida says she has made a good the hole in the magic, and she thinks it was just the one witch that got in. One of the piskies gabbled before they all flew off back to where the action was. Thank goodness, so at least that was one problem solved. I'm so sorry, Perdita, said Wish, but Bodkin is in trouble. We'll have to leave in a hurry. Thank you for everything. At this, the bear lifted her head weakly. No, growled Perdita as a bear, and she staggered to her feet, shook her shaggy fur, and in front of their eyes the outline of the bear faded. She stood before them, much smaller than normal, and terribly old and weak. Her face was blasted with witch lightning. You should not leave. It is too dangerous. You must let them leave, madam, snapped Hula. It is your only weakness that has let them stay here this long. I don't like it. I told you so. But for the first time in centuries, a witch has entered this sacred learning place, and these cursed children have let it in. I told you the boy was unsavable, and that we'll have to expel him in the end. Tsar's face darkened, and he looked furious. I told you that the girl's magic could not be uncontrolled and that she would bring bad luck on all of us. What am I supposed to do with all of this witch blood? Hula pointed an angry wing at the steaming spots of green that the teachers were now surrounding with force fields so that nobody accidentally stepped on them. It'll be years before we get those stains out, maybe even decades. And listen to those hell creatures clamouring outside. Look at the calamities these children have brought on us. Burning forests, witch attacks, and now Pook's Hill itself is in danger. We're sorry about everything, but we have to go to the Nakalivi to save Bodkin, said Wish in a wretched state of anxiety. Tsar and Bodkin changed places, and it's too long to explain. Please let us out. I said it myself, said Perdita. You were always just passing through. You can't run away forever. But when I said that, she continued, bursting into tears, I never knew I was going to like you all so much. Caliban patted her on the shoulder with one wing. Love is a weakness, warned Hula. Maybe it is, said Perdita, smiling. But what a very nice weakness indeed. Can you come too, Perdita? Asked Wish, wistfully, for she knew what the answer was already. Perdita looked affectionately into Wish's eyes. I cannot, said Perdita. Spells must be tended, suppers must be made, trees must be looked after, even when the world is burning. This is your quest, and my brother will look after you, won't you, brother? Caliban sighed. I'll do my best. Thank you, sister, for hiding us for so long. We leave Pook's Hill a lot more prepared than when we were when we arrived. Until we meet again, then, replied Perdita, and if you need me, all you have to do, knock 3 times. Right on cue, just as Perdita finished, there was a very loud knocking at the eastern entrance. Knock, knock, knock. I could have just done. Never mind, didn't think so. Hula's head swirled round 180 degrees. Who could that be? Ooh, maybe it's Bodkin, said Wish. Trying to get back in because the witches are attacking him. Let him in, let him in, let him in. Perdita tipped her head to one side, listening. That's not Bodkin, she said. The Knuckleheapy's in the west. Summon your door, and who will take them all to the western entrance very secretly and quietly, and then I'll go and see who's at the eastern entrance. Whoever they are, they may be in trouble. But, madam, are you well enough? Asked Hula. Perdita drew herself up to her full height. She looked quite wild, for she had been in the middle of looking after a spell when the witch attack happened, and she had been so distracted that, as well as everything else, the spell had exploded on her. She had bits of slimy seaweed tangled in her hair, and other unidentified but revolting-looking ingredients smeared all over her clothes, and her hands were wrist-deep in some sort of goo that had sulphurous and most appalling stink of rotten eggs. And on top of that, she could hardly stand up because she was so bruised and battered by fighting off the witch. She clearly wasn't well at all. But I'm fine, Hula. Stop fussing, snapped Perdita. I'm only 485 years old, after all, the prime of middle age. I don't know why you keep treating me as if I'm on the brink of death. Off you go. As soon as she had said these words, a great humming bee cloud of piskies appeared. Out of nowhere, several of them so wildly overexcited that they actually threw up. Nothing to see here, piskies, said Hula uneasily, but you might as well have been hooting at the wind. They're off on a very secret quest. 1 bear, 1 giant, 2 humans, 3 wolves, 3 snowcats, 8 useless sprites, 1 peregrine falcon, and a baby. None of them any green anymore. Off on a very secret, absolutely crazy, madly suicidal, absolutely secret, terrifyingly, stupefyingly, idiotic, lunatically, slows your idiotically, death-defying, impossible new quest. Oh my goodness me, I couldn't say that again twice. Sang the pixies. Piskies even. Breathe. That's all one word, by the way. Perdita transformed into a bear larger than Wish had ever seen before and roared at the piskies, who stopped buzzing a moment in shock. That's better, said Perdita, changing back into herself again. Now, piskies, I have somebody arriving at the eastern entrance. Ooh, said the piskies. And you absolutely must not tell anyone they are here. Not a word, piskies. I mean it. Not a word. Ooh. We won't tell, sang the piskies in a positive swarm of delight, and they buzzed off in a vast bee swarm numbers, a hum of creative curiosity to see what was going on in the eastern entrance. Only 1 or 2 very tiny ones were left to squeak about what Tsar and Wish were doing. I have faith in you, Tsar, said Perdita. Never forget that. And I have a parting gift for you. She pressed something into Tsar's hand. He shoved it in the pocket of his waistcoat, trying not to cry, and pretending he did not care, and then they all hurried off, after Hula, towards the west. Perdita watched them go a moment, and then she turned and limped to the east, where the knocking was getting more and more urgent. You'd better use invisibility spells now, Hula warned Zarnwish as they reached the western perimeter of the learning place. From the moment you leave this place, the witches will be watching. Remember, don't stay invisible too long, just until you get out of range of the witches who are surrounding us. Invisibility is very bad for you. The sprites took out their wands, and Zarnwish used their spelling staffs to turn everybody invisible. As she looked down at her disappearing legs, Wish felt a familiar, queasy lurch of the stomach. Turning invisible was almost like parts of you were going to sleep, or as if you had become a ghost. Hula led them to the wall at the edge of the mound, and Wish put the door up against it and knocked 3 times with her now invisible fist. I've remembered. The door swung open. Outside, the cold night air was full of shrieks and the screams of witches, so loud and eerie, Wish's blood ran cold to hear them. It went against every instinct to leave the warmth and safety of the learning place. Hang on. But they had to do this. The invisible Wish and Zar walked through, leaving Hula and the 2 Piskies hovering on the other side. Wish made it bigger for a second so Crusher the Giant could walk through the door too, and then smaller again, and then slowly, sadly, Wish closed the door. Whoo! Hula hooted through the keyhole. 1 giant bear, 2 humans, 3 wolves, 3 snowcats, 8 useless sprites, 1 peregrine falcon, and a baby, none of them green anymore. Off on a very secret, absolutely crazy, madly suicidal, absolutely secret, terrifyingly stupid, idiotic new quest, chanted the 2 Piskies from the other side of the door, leaving their wonderful, marvellous, magnificent new home. Probably never to see again, but to die miles away from anywhere in the ravenous jaws of the Knuckleavy instead of staying cozy, comfy, happy. And I think it's deliciously stargirlish for stomach ache. We'll be back, I promise, Wish whispered back through the keyhole. She let her hand firmly rest on the door a second, and then firmly she stepped away. Follow Bodkin and Night Guy, whispered Zar into the invisible ears of the snowcats. Then they climbed onto the invisible door, and Wish whispered a word to make it fly, moved the key, and they very slowly flew low over the ground, for above them was the terrifying sight of the witches attacking the school. Wish could see the dark outlines of their feathers, swarms of them, magic screaming out of their mouths like lightning, and her palms began to sweat. And that is the end of that chapter. I will see you on Monday for some more. Have a fabulous weekend. Hopefully it won't rain. Oh, you're falling. Bye.